All right, well today, big cool stuff is happening. The UPS guy came and left me some really awesome stuff. So I ordered a Dewalt cordless propane heater and the 60-volt table saw. Now I've had one of these table saws before. This is really amazing table saw. I can't tell you enough of how well this thing works. It has way more power than you could ever imagine a battery powered thing having, and that's what kind of got me pushed on this battery technology to really use it more and kind of switch everything over to it. So I needed one, I bought another one, so I figured to make a showcase video on opening it up and showing you how it works and what it does. But I also picked up this heater. Now, I have a job coming up, and you know, winter's right around the corner, and I only need heat in small areas of these cottages. So rather than work in the cold or get this big giant top hat heater or anything, okay, let's give this thing a whirl. I have a bunch of Dewalt stuff, batteries and all that, so I want to see what it's like. Now let's make some room here and open this puppy up here. Kind of curious about this. I brought in a propane tank so I can hook this up and show you what it does. And, well, comes with the hose and the regulator. All right, well, let's open that right up while I'm here. There's that. Something under the tag that says do not remove. That's probably the handle for how to use the heater. This thing, whew. Getting there, getting there. Wow, it's like a jet engine, torpedo heater. All right, look at this, pretty cool. So I guess obviously we have to put the handle on there, but for now, let's take a look. It also has a plug, so you can plug your extension cord into this and run off of electricity as well. I managed to bring a battery up here with me. I'll grab that in a second. But let's open this bottom part. Hook up our fancy hose here. Try not to bang it on anything. Figure I have to do this in the house. I'm in the middle of making babies' rooms out of my garage, so I lost my good shop space. A moment. We'll crank this on there. I'm actually gonna have to get a wrench and make sure it's tight enough. But let me do that. Meantime, I will grab a propane tank here. If I move. Aha. Look at that, perfect. I can put that there and I don't have to dig my floor. Just what I want to do. So we'll hook this up. Now this thing's 68,000 BTUs, which is kind of perfect. You know, I'm doing the bedroom, let's call it 12 by 16. So I don't need a whole lot of heat in there, but there's no heat in these cottages, and I have quite a few jobs to do this winter. So I think this is perfect. Let's see, I'll turn this around. You can see some gauges and stuff on here. It has the igniter and temperature gauge or thermostat. All right, let me go get a wrench. All right, I got the wrench. Let's finish tightening this sucker up here. God, nothing's cooler than getting new tools. It's always an exciting time. All right, there's that one. Don't use vice grips on this or to just strip your stuff. Always get the right wrench for that. Now, battery, I believe plugs right in the bottom here. Yeah. And it's probably good to go. I'm gonna guess you just have to push this on and turn it on, and let's see what happens. Maybe I can turn it like that and you'll catch a blast. So, turn the propane on here. Fan on. Press the start fan button. Look at that, she's alive. Press the button to turn it off. Wow, that's a piece of cake. Let's try that again in case that didn't catch right, but I think it did. So we just push this little fan button. Let me show you this little fan button right there. And here's the other thermostat knob to turn the temperature, and the igniter switch. Or no, you just hold that in and it starts to flow the gas. I guess it automatically ignites when you're doing all this. Let's see here if I have it just like that. All right, so if we turn the fan back on, revs up, push the button in, it should light. Push the switch in. Look at that. Don't want to blow too much heat at the GoPro there. Wait a second till it gets going. And then you can take your hand off of it. Now it'll run for a minute. And then we can set the temperature. That's nice. That's perfect. Just what you need. A little bit of heat, a little bit of air. Warm up the room. We'll take that. All right, cool. So now that's running, and like I said, you push that, it turns it off. This is obviously your thermostat control. Yeah, now you're talking. Cool, I like this thing. And then all this, you just push the button and out. I can run with one hand. I like it. That's gonna work really, really well. So, with that said, let's move on to our next major showcase here. All right, well, here it is, Dewalt table saw. Now, this is an 8 1/4 inch, 60 volt, awesome table saw. You can rip like a sheet of plywood on it. It extends out really far. Everything you really want in a portable table saw. Doesn't weigh all that much. I mean, it's not light, but it's not ridiculously heavy. You can pick it up single-handed and yank it around. It's, well, can't rave enough about this thing. Paint single-handed even with whatever I'm holding on to, so it's not too bad. Ooh, the blade is probably in that. That one's a little lighter. Alright, let's see. Ta-da! In all its glory. Nice new table saw. Now, the reason for a new table saw. Well, let me get to this one. I have an old portable one. It's an old Makita. And, well, I can't say enough about that one because I've been using it for 20 years. So, it's so beaten, the plastics are destroyed. The motor itself on that one is cutting. The bearings are worn in it, and the blade cuts into the side of this as you try to rip, and you can feel everything moving and wobbling. You can't cut anything on a 45 or it'll cut a giant bow in the board no matter what you try to do to it. So it is time to get rid of the other table saw. Besides that, I have a bigger one that's kind of almost borderline shop saw. So to load it in the truck and unload it, it's big, bulky, you almost need 2 people to move it, so I don't like to move that one to job to job. This is what I need. I can pick it up one hand, it fits in my trailer, it'd be a piece of cake to use and move, so I like this. Now, this is an 8 1/4 inch saw, 60 volt. I happen to have a battery right behind me here, and I bought this one without the battery and charger just because we're running a couple other tools that are 60 volt. We do have a showcase on both the chop saw and the compressor. The compressor is phenomenal. Check that out. I'll put some links right here and you can get to those. 60 volt battery. Okay. Clips right in the side. Pretty cool. Pull this little fancy switch up. Keep your finger out of the way. Ooh, she screams. This thing will rip too, I tell you. And it goes. It's awesome. Cuts right through anything like butter. Hard to believe that this is just a battery-powered saw. I was definitely so sold on this technology. I had to try the chop saw as well and was just as impressed with that. Especially if you do trim work. Quite a bit of trim work. I mean, this thing is a great saw. I want to go out and start cutting something with it. Even the guard has an attachment for the vacuum right on there. And drop that right in there. Okay. Here. This is your fence. This fence, so perfect. It does a lot of different things. It has two different spots you can clip it. There and there. You have a release lever right here. That allows you to then turn this knob to adjust your fence. And that locks it once you get it. Super simple, keeps everything precise. This thing stays so in line just by flicking it and doing that. Now, let's say you want to get far out. Okay, so now we're out that far. We have this little piece that flips up and over to support your material on this side. All right, well that's not big enough. Now we have to go even further. Now you can rip your full 24-inch wide stuff that you need to do. You have your gauge here, tells you everything where you're at, and whether you're set far out at 24 1/4 or you move it in and it'll show 20 1/4, and that gives you better support. Again, just crank it in. What an amazing table saw this is. Super excited to have it. Wow. And then when you're done, move this back over so you can see here. When you're done, this thing just clips back up on the underside. There. Roll it in, and then you can lock it down. Now when you pick it up and carry it around, it's solid, nothing's moving. Really great. And it stores nicely just like this, which fits perfectly in a trailer. So it doesn't take up a whole lot of room. Obviously I can turn the blade down, make it even smaller. But overall, I'd say it's like the perfect traveling portable table saw. It's not that heavy, and comes with your fancy little square. You know, it's not cheap. This one, just the saw alone, I think I paid like $3.79 for this. Now you can get it with the battery, it's like $5.50. All right, let me show you some other things with this. You have your adjustment for your blade. Simple little crank here, and then very easy to slide and adjust and lock where you want to be for your cuts. Your on-off switch. And this was the gauge I was showing before of what you want to do to be at. Now, the old table saw, it did its thing, but we're gonna have to put it out of its misery and put an end to its life. So if you want to check out our other videos and see what might happen to that table saw, well, that's up to you, but I would advise it. It might be kind of fun, it might be kind of cool. But other than that, all right, a couple other cool little features. This fancy little gauge here, and kickback guard. This thing just clips right in the side here, so it's easy to store and carry with you. Just the pin on the back, turn that. Now that's mounted and in there. You can still store a piece of cake. This guy fits down underneath. You have wrenches here on the side. They store easily. And you have your kickback blades here, or anti-kickback guards. They come out and hook to that other guard there. But this, the dust guard, if you will, finger guard. But this clips down in here, stores out of the way, so everything fits right on this little thing. You also have, you can turn it even more and just keep going around and around with this table saw. When I had this up the fence out before, it was easier to show because it clips to the fence. On the inside is your fancy dancy little pusher. So stored right there on the fence, always ready to go for when you need it. Great, great tool. All these Dewalt tools, been having a lot of fun with them. And I got a couple more on the way, doing different things with certain ones, specialty tools and whatnot. So make sure you subscribe and like Mr. Brian's Amazing World, and you have a great day.